what to do when a man won't commit. So this is for all of you who are done feeling rejected, not being made a priority, right? Not feeling the support from a man and always have to put everybody else first, right? Like you're prioritizing everybody else. You're giving all your power away. You're losing actually self-respect. And we'll be talking today about what to do when a man won't commit, because it's really important. There's very particular behavioral patterns and also emotional patterns as well that you can learn to adapt, that the right man will commit to you. And of course, I found this on my own journey because I, of course, grew up in an emotionally absent household. So some of you may have grown up in an emotionally absent household. So I'd love to hear in the comment section if that resonates for you. And for me, particularly, that meant that my parents were mostly emotionally unavailable / narcissistic. And that, of course, taught me to put everybody else first, right? And so what that means is making sure their needs are being met, disconnecting from my needs, right? Like making sure that they're in the spotlight, not me, right? Belittling, myself, or allowing belittling to happen because the other person is more important, or hoping that, if I focus on the other person more, then they will turn around. So I'd love to hear from you also in the comment section. Let me know right now, right? And this is live, so you can ask questions as well. But let me know in the comment section if that resonates for you. If you thought, when I serve the other person, then I deserve to be loved. Deserve, right? Or when I, do this favor for the other person, then I'm going to be loved, right? And then I deserve, to also get my attention as well, or whatever the case may be. So there's always something that you have to do first, that you have to almost prove yourself first, right? Before you get the attention. And then what happens is you attract a man into your life who, guess what? He won't commit, because the story goes, I have to do this and that and the other first, right? I have to be more patient. I have to be more forgiving. I have to be more compassionate. I have to be more graceful. I have to be more feminine. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And before he will commit. So we want to really break through that as well. And go ahead and post your top dating, relationship, and love questions here for me to answer now as well. And of course, if you haven't done so already, take our free relationship diagnostics to attract the right man for you at magnetizeyourman.com relationship diagnostic, and you'll see it. The link is right here as well. That will really help you to understand where you're at and where are you headed, right? So to actually go further into what to do when a man won't commit, right, is actually seeing, okay, hold on a second. Where am I not committing to myself, right? So that means looking at, okay, so I have certain things on my calendar that I have committed myself to do. So let's say, I have yoga on Thursday, or I'm meeting girlfriends on Tuesday for cocktails, or whatever the case may be. So I have all those commitments, right? But then as soon as the man comes around, I'm willing to break those commitments. See, isn't that interesting, right? So it's really interesting to see what happens when we're actually not committing to ourselves. Also, picture yourself on a date. Let's say you're on a first date and you have a certain emotional response inside of you. Maybe you said something that actually made you feel sad, or you just said something that made you actually feel silly or angry, right? But then you think, no, I mean, I don't want to come off as too weird, and I don't want to come off as too complicated, and I don't want to come off as too fill in the blank, right? And then you also don't commit to those emotions as well, and you actually suppress them. You actually keep it to yourself, and you're actually seeing no, I don't want to take that risk, right? Because he may think I'm crazy, or he may think I'm not the one, or he may think I'm too wild for him, or whatever the case may be. So Gifty said, or Gifty, like you can let me know which one it is, the first or the second. Gifty, I feel if the love is mutual, he will commit. If it's not, he won't. We often try hard to fall in love with people who don't really love us. Yeah, and this is exactly another piece as well, is because we didn't get the love from our parent the way we wanted to, then we are attracted to, right? That's where the chemistry happens, is when you're actually with a man who doesn't love you. But that's the one that you're attracted to because that's the experience you had in your childhood. And you're hoping that the man is going to turn around because your parents, your dad, your mom, they didn't turn around in your childhood, despite of what you did. So you say, wait, let me finish this cycle by actually projecting what I was hoping my parents were giving me onto a man and then turn the man around. I used to do this all the time. And how this works is you generally just value men who are actually unavailable, right? So there is available men around you. There is men around you that have capacity to love, that have a secure attachment style, that are grounded, that are aligned, right? But those are not the guys that you want. And I see this with my women all the time, right? I mean, I've now had over the pleasure to work with over thousands of single successful women all over the world. So if you tell me, but Antia, it's very different because I live in Sydney. It's very different because I live in Lagos, Africa. It's very different because I live in, in Switzerland. I would tell you the same principles apply. Also, if you say, well, Antia, but I'm 65, I'm not 25, or I'm divorced, I've not been single my whole life, whatever it is, right? Whatever the age, the stage, doesn't really matter. The same principles apply. And that is this, right? You have to learn to value a man who's good to you. Because what happens is, exactly on a nervous system level, that when someone is good to you, it's almost boring. Because you don't really feel like excited about it. There's not really an unknown, an uncertainty. And because there's no uncertainty, then there is no tension, right? There's no tension inside of yourself. And when there's no tension, you don't feel a state change inside of yourself. So you're actually rather bored, right? And so that's another reason why you're attracted to men who won't commit. So since we're talking today about what to do when a man won't commit, it's like actually starting to get attracted to men who are good for you, right? And this is like the thing that you have to understand is like really seeing, okay, where am I not committing to myself when a great man comes around? Where am I just like, oh, no, not interested. Oh, way too boring, way too, bland, fill in the blank. But what actually happens is when I met my husband, Brody, it felt more like a calm lake. It didn't feel like a wild sea of passion, fireworks, all the things, right? But rather, it was a calm sea. And what's true about this is when you have a secure relationship, a man that actually will commit to you, like it will go deep. It may not go wide, so you may not have massive amounts of variety in the beginning, but you have a lot of depth, a lot of authenticity, a lot of trust, right? So when I was dating my husband, for example, authenticity, I told him that I wanted to manipulate him, because like we women, a lot of us women, we actually test men. And part of it is like, yeah, if you especially encounter a secure man and it could feel a little boring, we want to create a little bit of a drama, so to say, right? And so like, that's how I wanted to do that. But then I said, wait a minute. In order to be what I call in queen integrity, is what you think, what you say, and what you do has to be in alignment, right? So I'm like, oh crap, like now I need to share with my husband because I thought it, you know what I mean? And now I need to do it. And so also something to keep in mind as well, right? It's like when a man won't commit, what it really means is he doesn't honor himself. That means his words don't equal his actions. And where is that true for you, right? Where are your words not equaling your actions, or where your thoughts don't equal your words and your actions? So you get to really do a deep dive and be really honest with yourself. And again, ask any questions that you have around this, because it's not an easy topic to break down, right? Like it really is something that's really important. And then the other piece also is, my husband and I always say, you can have the most beautiful sailboat, but if you don't have any wind, meaning commitment, you're not going anywhere. And so essentially what that means, if you're not fully committing to yourself, meaning setting boundaries, saying no, standing up for what you need, and also disengage, right? So if a man treats you with disrespect, or he dangles the carrot in front of your nose, and I've just seen this with one of my wonderful clients, she just disengaged. And then lo and behold, of course, he came back and he wants to take her out and all the things and drive to her, go out of his way. So it remains to be seen if he's emotionally unavailable, because an avoidant attachment style does that as well, right? Because as soon as you give them space, they want you. They miss you, right? They want to spend the rest of their life with you. But then when you get closer, when you actually sort of, connect with them emotionally again, or you share something vulnerably, then they pull back again. So it's this constant push and pull game with the avoidant attachments, that dismissive avoidant. So you want to make the distinction there as well, right? So essentially what you want to do when a man won't commit is look in the areas where you're not committing to yourself, like really important, like also understanding how to communicate. As a matter of fact, we have like a really great program here that you can check out, like what text messages to send that make a man crave you. Go to magnetizingmessages.com. So if you're like, you know what, Antia, I'm like, with communication, I don't know exactly what to do, what to say, this is the program for you. Now, the other piece also is what I've seen is that women have what I call a parts conflict, meaning when you attract a man to your life who won't commit, chances are it's because they are not, they're confused, they're conflicted inside of themselves. And so since I believe that who you're attracting to your life is directly proportional to the relationship you have to yourself, that then gets to where do I have that parts conflict inside of myself? Ta-ta, right? So you get to see, okay, there's this part inside of me that wants to have the deep connected long-term relationship, but then there's this other part inside of me that's more unconscious and that wants to protect myself, doesn't want to get disappointed, doesn't want to get hurt again, wants to guard yourself, wants to stay in power, wants to stay independent, you name it. So there's this other part side of you. And so now those parts are fighting each other. So let me know in the comment section if that makes sense to you. If you're like, yeah, that's so true, Antia. I go on a date and I want to put my best foot forward. But I also feel like there's resistance. I just got off the call last night with a client, and we really identified that when actually the man is interested and when there's actually some investment there, out of the sudden, this fear and this resistance comes up, right? Like this fear to get disappointed, to get let down, to get hurt. And then, she's in this particular one, this one shuts down, right? So where are you doing that? So you're just going to take a little inventory right now of your life. Where are you doing that? So take a moment. And of course, we have created also, in addition to asking questions right now, we have created a really great program to take advantage and care of the parts conflict that you have inside of yourself. So if you're struggling with this and because of that, you're attracting the wrong man into your life, then I really recommend checking out our Ultimate Love Recipe course. ultimateleverecipe.com is your ticket here. So check it out as well. All right, so if we don't have any other questions for today, then take all of that in. Let me know how this has helped you, what to do when a man won't commit, and try this out, right? When you commit to yourself, when you take a stand for yourself, when you say no to somebody dangling the carrot in front of your nose. Like when I was 5 months before I met my husband, Brody, January 2013, we'll never forget it. I broke up with my old self, right? Because I said, you know what? I'm done with like men who are showing up unavailable and all of a sudden they're changing or, however the wind blows. And I really made a statement for myself and I said, my man knows. He knows already. Like he doesn't need to think about it. He doesn't need to get to know me better. All the things, right? He knows. And then of course I met my husband, Brody. And the first night we met, he told me that I'm the girl of his story. The first night. So, by the way, be careful what you wish for, right? He knows. He knew. And it never changed. We're now over 9 years later, 8 years married, with a loving, cute little baby girl, right? So all of that you can experience because what happens, I know what you're thinking. You want to say, well, Antia, I say, if he knows, then I'm missing all the men who don't know. And what if they need to know? I mean, that's the thing, right? You got to really understand what's your standard. And it's really interesting because the environment will actually change. It's true, environment trumps willpower, but also you taking a stand, your standard will actually shift your environment. That's how powerful you are. So if you want to learn more about like how to attract the right man for you, then I recommend taking my free relationship diagnostic, mymquiz.com, to just see where am I at, what's happening. Or if you want to apply directly, if you're like, I want to have a deeper conversation with this sounds very interesting, apply for a free one-on-one Magnetize Your Man clarity session with me or an expert love coach at mymcall.com. All right, so last chance to get any questions answered before we complete for today, but very powerful if you start to implement those principles. Not only have I gone through this journey over and over again by myself with my husband, but also have seen lots and lots of clients go through that same journey, right? Like have actually men turn around. It's kind of funny, right? Because I don't really believe in that, but I was proven wrong. And he would never want to get married again. He was married before and she was able to stick to her standards. She was standing in her queen. And as a response, he changed his mind. And they've been now married for several years. All right, ladies, this is it for today. This was what to do when a man won't commit. Looking forward to chatting with you next time. Lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.